show here tonight. Welcome to We'll Sing and We'll Shout. I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to get this done here tonight, but I've got a little bit of window of time here before I board this flight to LA. And so we're going to go ahead and jump in and make this happen. I'm your host, Hanson. This, I think, is our 49th episode, 49 days in a row, I believe. I don't believe we've missed a day here. Not always at the right time, but so tonight we are flying from Salt Lake here. We are in the beautiful new Salt Lake Airport here. We're going to fly to LAX, and then we'll be there for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and we will get a flight on right around midnight on Chinese Airlines, and we will fly to Taiwan. And we'll hang out there for about 2 hours, and then we'll fly to Bangkok, Thailand. So that is our destination tonight. Tonight is our Testimony Tuesday. I've kind of been thinking about that today at times as I traveled up here on the front runner and whatnot. And but I look at this beautiful Salt Lake Airport, and it helps me to remember how blessed I feel to live here in Utah, and what an amazing experience this has been for me and my family these last 15 years. And it is about 15 and a half years now that we've lived here in Utah. And it causes me to reflect back on some of the events that transpired that brought us out here 15 years ago. And it really started, the story of us ending up in Utah really started about 18 years ago in the winter of 2000. Oh, 2008. Yes. The fall leading up to that, dealing with a lot of heavy stuff in my life. I had just spent 5 years building a huge addition on our home back in Illinois. And I say addition, it was a 4,000-foot addition to a 2,000 square foot farmhouse. So it wasn't really an addition, it was a multiplication. So we'd spent 5 years. I was hoping we could do this in 2 years. I was 5 into it, about 12. We were in the wrap-up mode, but that whole much between work and building that building and building that amazing structure, and it was an amazing structure. It had a full court basketball, had a full basketball court up in the attic. It had tourists. It was like a castle, and we thought we would be there forever. But the whole experience really wore me down in a lot of ways, and I really was looking for some help and for some healing in my life. And I would go to church there in Sycamore, Illinois, and they would talk about this new program that they had. It was called the Addiction Recovery and Healing Program. And I would meeting, and like I'm a big thing here, but I kept feeling attracted to that word healing, and these announcements would just keep coming at me, not necessarily every week, but pretty regularly. And I'm sitting there listening to this, and I kept getting these promptings, you should go to that meeting, and I just continued to ignore because I just didn't feel like addiction recovery was something that I needed. Not that I walked some perfect path or something, but I just didn't feel addicted to anything. But the feeling kept coming, and I got through Christmas time, and finally in January I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go. I keep feeling like I should do this. I'm going to go to that meeting. And I walked in there. It was up in Rockford at the old Rockford Steak Center, whatever main drag meeting. The first night it's kind of a meeting like that. It's kind of like walking into Alcoholics Anonymous, I suppose. Not that I've ever done that, I haven't, but it was kind of like that kind of a feeling. And you get in there, and right away you look around and you realize, wow, these people's lives are pretty messed up. But you sit down and people start sharing their stories, and they're talking about this and that and whatever. And like all of a sudden it feels a lot more comfortable, and it feels okay. And everybody's kind of looking at you like, gee, I went with him. Kind of like, yeah, so did I actually. But I sat there and I actually went away that night, and I really liked how it felt to have gone there. So when I could, I went during that time frame. I couldn't always catch it. I think it was on a Tuesday night or a Thursday night. Couldn't always catch it, but when I could, I would go to that meeting, and really positive experience in going there. And but life got busy that spring, and I kept going, but I wasn't really doing a lot of the homework. I wasn't really getting into the program that much. But I would just go to these meetings and absorb all this, and absorb this feeling, this healing feeling that was coming towards me. But I didn't really know what to expect, or I didn't really have any expectations of this other than this just feels good to come here and listen to other people's problems, put mine in perspective. Perhaps that's what it was. And but then that July of 2008, something really powerful impacted my life, and it was a really healing experience. And I'm not going to try to get into that tonight because it's just way too much. It's just way too much. But it but it was emotionally consuming in a way that it started to impact my work. And the people around me could tell, Steve seems kind of zoned out, like we don't really know what's going on here. And so finally, they kind of HR kind of pulled me in and said, yeah, I think was it just him and one other person, or maybe it was just him. I think it was just him. And what's interesting is this person's actually a Facebook friend. Like, he is out here amongst my 800 Facebook friends. I feel like maybe there was one other person in there, but we got to talking about things. This was the same person that pulled me aside like 6 months earlier and was talking about, when am I going to get my next promotion and things like that. But so we're talking about things, and I really didn't have a lot of answers for him that day. But then something came out from like a year earlier, and it was like I was being accused of some things. And I was kind of like, what do you got? Like, put it on the table here. What are you learning? What are you alluding to? What are you saying? And there wasn't really any clarity, but I could kind of sense that what the accusations were, and they were completely unfounded. They were completely false. But this strong feeling just came to me that day to just let it go. This career that I had with this company is to just let it go. And this guy was offering me a severance package. This was the fall of 2008. The economy was slowing down anyway. That was not his original intention to do that, but that was an option that he put on the table. And the spirit strongly spoke to me as I sat there and said, take that severance package. I've got other plans for you. I've got other things I want you to do. And just take that severance package, and we will walk through this together. And that's a really good feeling. I mean, I left that meeting feeling really good because I felt like I got a really strong prompting to do exactly what I did. But the thing is that life did not get easier right away. It didn't get easier right away at all. It got actually really difficult. And it got really difficult for, let's see, that was the fall of 2008. It was 2010. It was October 2010 when we packed up and moved to Utah. So it got difficult for about 2 years. And as things get difficult, you want to kind of reflect back and think, what the heck was I listening to? And why did I walk away from that? But the prompting had been so strong, and I felt so secure in that the strength of that never left me. That feeling never left me. And the other amazing thing is that we never ran out of resources. And even when we moved to Utah, we still had sufficient to get by until I did get reemployed out here and things took off for us again. And I felt when we brought our daughter out here to BYU, our oldest daughter, Courtney, when we brought her out here in early August, or maybe mid-August of 2010, I felt a really strong prompting that we should just move out here, that we should pack up and move to Utah. I felt that while we were here, and I talked to Heidi about it on the way home. And I said, if I had applied for 2 more jobs. I said, Heidi, if I get rejection letters from those 2 jobs, I think we should just pack up and move out here. And when I got home, one of the rejection letters was waiting for me in the mail, and the other one came within a couple of days. And 3 weeks later, we pulled into Utah. So, and it has been here in Utah the last 15 years has been an amazing blessing. We have been blessed so much out here, and our children have been so blessed. And another thing that happened, and I was just reflecting on this here, about a half hour ago, as I was thinking about this, is that Kenny came into our life. Our youngest child, our youngest son, who just turned 16 a couple of weeks ago, he came into our life during that whole thing. And when I consider all these blessings that came out of that decision that I made that day in that in that office with my HR manager, someone who I consider a friend even to this day, that decision that I made, the implications of that seemed huge at the time, and they were hard and they were difficult. They were difficult things to work through, and I could list them out. We could talk about them, but let's not go there. But we made it. We made it through. Uh, we had the strength, the emotional strength to work our way through that, the spiritual strength to work our way through that, and financially we survived. We survived through that. We never had to turn and ask the church or anyone else for money. Everything worked out. It was pretty amazing. There were some amazing stories there of how things worked out. And it's just, and that's my testimony here in Testimony Tuesday, that the Lord does answer prayers, and and then when we follow promptings, we will be led to the places that we need to be and led to the things that we need to do. And that is exactly how I have felt this last year in an even more powerful way. That I have been led to a really amazing opportunity and to some really amazing things, and surrounded by some really amazing people. And and I feel so blessed in that. But much like in 2008, we are going through some tough things right now. Like, this is not an easy transition. This is not, I mean, it may look good outside, and we may even be trying to make it look good. But these are challenging times. These are difficult things we're working through. But I know what I'm feeling. I know where I'm at, and I know what we're doing, and I feel very blessed in all that. So I'm going to let this go here for tonight. I'm going to get over here with Heidi and Kenny, and we're going to get ready to get on this plane. And thank you for checking in. Always appreciate those of you who catch me live and those catch me on the replay. Tomorrow, we will be in Bangkok, Thailand. I don't know what time it'll be, but we will be live from Bangkok, Thailand tomorrow. And let's see, tomorrow's Wednesday, so we will do some kind of a weight loss Wednesday thing tomorrow. So we look forward to that, and we'll catch y'all then. Take care.